I'm Tracy Baxter with today's Record Newswatch. The smoke could be seen far above the Village of Maybrook this afternoon. It came from a commercial building on fire at Halmar International Trucking Company on Homestead Avenue. The blaze ripped through a former auto shop structure that the company had been using for storage.
We were called for a structure fire, showed up to a fully involved commercial building with fire through the roof. The only challenge we really faced is we run off of one hydrant system here. We had to find another hydrant system to work off of, and getting trucks into the back here through the parking lot was a little bit difficult.
Firemen from 10 area companies were called to the scene and got the blaze under control in about an hour, although the building is considered a total loss. There were no injuries, and the cause of the fire is now under investigation. Newburgh City Manager Richard Herbeck made it clear to members of the City Common Council last night he will not resign, despite the embarrassment that arose after his car was pulled over by police last week with a suspected prostitute in the vehicle with him. In a statement made during the meeting, Herbeck reiterated his story that it was an innocent encounter and that he had been attempting to persuade the woman to enter a drug rehabilitation program.
I've created a situation that is an embarrassment to the city, to me personally.
More than 20 people spoke during the meeting, and many of them spoke out in support of Herbeck's work as city manager.
Mr. Herbeck's worked very hard. He inherited a city that we didn't even know how badly in the hole we were. We had no idea what the number was. And he's turned that around.
The City Council is divided over Herbeck's future, with Councilwomen Gay Lee and Regina Angelo supporting Herbeck's work, while Councilmen Curly Dillard and Cedric Brown say it's time for him to go. Mayor Judy Kennedy stopped short of asking for Herbeck's resignation last night, but she did say his actions had done further harm to a city trying to improve its image. A former Town of Ulster police chief has pleaded guilty to official misconduct for his failure to report sex crimes that occurred in another community and for not taking steps to prevent them. Former Chief Matthew Taggard filed the guilty plea to the misdemeanor charge in Ulster County Court this morning. District Attorney Holly Carnwright said Taggart was then ordered to pay a $1,000 fine and $250 in crime victim service and DNA collection fees, and was given a one-year conditional discharge, allowing him to avoid serving any jail time. According to the DA, Taggart believes sex crimes were being committed involving young victims in Saugerties, but he failed to notify proper authorities. Taggart, a 22-year veteran of the Ulster Police Department, was suspended in June and retired from the chief's position in September. It's the most preventable type of death, and a group of people who know the pain created by suicide shared their emotional stories with students at Port Jervis High School during an assembly this morning. Speakers urged the teens to reach out for help if their thoughts turn to suicide, and to seek help for friends if they see suicide's warning signs. Anne Marie DeLiso decided to speak out after her 16-year-old son Patrick, a Monroe Woodbury High School sophomore, took his own life 8 years ago.
I started a support group, and my goal was to get into the schools and talk to kids. And it took a long time. Patrick will be gone 8 years. It was May 19th, he was passed away. And we've finally made headway into the schools, making people realize you have to talk about this because it's happening. You know, the statistics are great. When I come in with my story, you're not looking at a textbook. You're hearing a personal story. It has to hit home. It has to make these kids wake up and take check and notice. And they do listen. The
students were told that by helping a friend struggling with depression and thoughts of suicide, they have the ability to potentially prevent a suicide, something speakers frequently referred to as the permanent solution to a temporary problem. More troubles for Liliana Traficante, who's awaiting a sentencing for stealing from investors for construction of an ill-fated water park in Goshen. Now, the New York City woman has been charged with impersonating an official from a children's nonprofit organization in order to steal almost $10,000 worth of groceries. That arrest came as Traficante was awaiting sentencing for her 2010 guilty plea to the charge of conspiracy to commit wire fraud in connection with a scheme to build a water park in Goshen to benefit foster children. Investigators say she spent much of the more than $1 million in loans and project investments on personal expenses and to repay some others who had given her money. And in Pike County, police are crediting an alert employer with providing the tip that led to the arrest of 2 of his employees for the armed robbery of a local store. Police in Milford say the owner of a paving company called to say 2 men who work for him matched the description of the pair being sought for the robbery of the More for Less clothing store October 10th in Milford. Police say they threatened a store cashier with a box cutter knife, then ran off with $75. 19-year-old Mitchell Griffin and 27-year-old Chad Hedgeland were charged with robbery and ordered held on a $250,000 bail. Today's clouds and rain are expected to spill into tomorrow. The forecast Wednesday calls for more clouds and showers, with temperatures reaching the middle 60s. The weather will improve on Thursday, with the highs up to around 70 degrees under a partly sunny sky. Keep tabs on breaking news throughout the day right here at Record Online, and get caught up on all that's happening by picking up tomorrow's Times-Herald Record. For Record Newswatch, I'm Tracy Baxter.